everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Olubengadetutun and I'm your host on this YouTube channel. Today I'm starting a series on cassava farming or cassava production or making money from cassava as far as Nigeria is concerned. When I talk about Nigeria, it concerns Africa and it concerns other countries in the world. By the way, if you are a first timer on this YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and like this video and drop your comment in the comment section below. Cassava farming business for Nigerians. People eat the root and use it to make medicine. That is, the root of cassava is eaten by people and the root is also used to make medicine. Cassava is used to treat tiredness, diarrhea, dehydration, sepsis, and to induce labor. But there is no good scientific evidence to support these claims. Cassava roots and leaves are consumed. Cassava has a similar nutritional value to potatoes. After rice and maize, cassava is the third largest source of food carbohydrates in the tropics. Cassava is a major staple food in the developing world, feeding over 500 million people. It is one of the most drought-tolerant crops, able to grow in poor soils. Nigeria is the world's largest cassava producer, while Thailand is the world's largest exporter of cassava starch. Cassava is Nigeria's most important root crop, and it is a reliable crop in both rural and urban households in Nigeria. And that also applies again to Africa and some other parts of the world. Cassava is a major source of income for rural cassava farmers and processors. Now, what else do I have to say about cassava? Just hold on, I'm going into the nitty-gritty of cassava, the farming, the nitty-gritty, every question that you have about cassava, we are going into that in a moment. Cassava alone accounts for approximately 45% of Nigeria's agricultural GDP for food or domestic use. But its industrial processing and utilization has been very limited. Currently, the country produces approximately 40,000 tons of the commodity, and due to the federal government's desire to reduce import dependency and conserve foreign exchange earnings, there is a national program aimed at increasing cassava flour production to be instituted with wheat flour. Other cassava products include garri, wheat flour, animal feed, ethanol for biofuels, and many more. Now, some of you may have the question that is it profitable to grow cassava? Yes, cassava is one of the world's most important cash crops, and as a result, investing in cassava farming is sure to be a profitable venture as long as you have the necessary training to get started and turn a profit. Cassava is very, very easy to grow. You get the soil, plant the cassava stick in the soil at the right time, and then when it is bushy, you weed it, and then you leave it. It keeps growing, and then by the time you harvest, you'll be surprised at what you're going to bring out. What is the best time of the year to plant cassava? The best time to start planting cassava is in October, at the start of the short rainy season. As a result, cassava matures quickly. Early maturing high-yielding varieties are harvested in 6 to 7 months after planting, whereas late maturing varieties can be harvested after 12 months. Another question some people may have is that what is the best time of year to harvest cassava? Cassava can be harvested all year round, all year long. Recently, I went to my farm and I saw somebody, there was dry season, somebody harvesting cassava. And I was watching. They were carrying it on their head after harvesting a huge bunch, carrying it on their head, and they gather it somewhere. Cassava can be harvested all year long. Any time of the year, you can harvest cassava. But the best time is during rainy season because the soil is soft, so you can easily draw. Those who harvest it during dry season, they have a style of harvesting, so to avoid breaking. So as long as the roots reach maturity, harvest 10 to 12 months after planting, or if it is a fast growing variety, 6 to 7 months after planting for the highest starch yield per hectare. If the tubers are not detached from the plant, they can be left in the ground for up to 2 years, but they will become fibrous and woody. Cassava is best harvested during the dry season because the tubers are high in starch. Drying is simple and the product can be easily processed and preserved. How do you space and plant cassava? What is the spacing for cassava planting? Cassava stems should be planted in the early morning or late evening to avoid evaporation and evapotranspiration. In fact, every agricultural product should be planted early in the morning or late in the evening. Spacing of cassava is critical. The space between plants is the feeding area of the plants. Cassava plants require a spacing of 1 meter by 1 meter to ensure a good yield. You may have another question, and that question is, how much money can be made per acre from cassava? Per acre, not hectare, acre. A-R-C-R. An acre of cassava yields 4 to 8 metric tons, corresponding to 1.5 to 4 metric tons of dried cassava chips and 1.2 to 2.5 metric tons of cassava flour. How do I get started with a cassava farm? That may be your question. Okay, I can make money from cassava. How then do I start? Number one, decide on a location. Get a farmland where you want to plant your cassava. Prepare the soil to make it more suitable for cassava farming. Get cassava stems that you are going to use for planting. Get good stems. Get the stems that mature in 6 to 8 months or less months. There are hybrid and special varieties being produced now. You can contact them at IITA at Ibadan, and you can get very fast growing and big varieties that can give you good products. Then get ready for cultivation. Then determine when the cassava stem cutting should be planted during the planting season. Then the next thing you do is you plant, and then you do the cultural practices link up with the planting. You weed and you apply fertilizer if needed, and then the next thing you wait for is harvest. After you harvest the cassava, you have to do what? You have to process the roots, and then you must have a budget for all this. You have a budget breakdown. What is it going to cost to get the land? You get that down. It depends on your location. What are you going to need to prepare the soil that will be suitable for cassava? It depends on your location, and you can contact experts, or you can see those who have been planting cassava in that area previously. Then you get the cassava stem. You can get it from IIT at Ibadan. Mentioned that already. Then you get ready for cultivation. All these things have monetary values attached to them. So you determine the money involved by your own location. The next question you may want to ask is, how do I begin cassava farm in Nigeria? It is just exactly the same answer I've given before on how do I get started with a cassava farm. How do you begin cassava farming in Nigeria? You get the land first. Prepare the soil to make it more conducive to cassava planting. The next thing you do is cassava stems should be used for planting. Get ready to cultivate. Determine when the cassava stem cutting should be planted throughout the planting season. Harvesting is a 6th step. You harvest, and then the 7th step is you process the cassava tuber, the root tuber. When they have grown up, then you have to have a budget. A budget is going to guide you to know how much you are going to put into the cassava venture. Now, what is the price of cassava? What is the current price of cassava? The price of cassava will determine at the time that you are watching this video and the exchange rate that have been happening over time. Cassava prices in Nigerian markets vary by state, but the average price per ton of cassava starch is between 400,000 and 550,000, and the average price per ton of cassava flour is between 350 and 450. The next question now is, cassava harvesting takes how many months? In comparison to other important crops, cassava has a relatively long growth cycle. Farmers must wait for an average of 10 to 12 months if they are using the local variety. But if you are using the modern hybrid variety, 5 to 7 months you wait. And some farmers like to wait up to 24 months. When they have so many farms, they don't have time to look at, to go to that farm, so they leave it for 24 months before they start harvesting. To harvest the roots, the growth cycles of maize, rice, and potatoes are less than a third of that. So cassava takes long before it grows. Maize matures in 2 to 3 months depending on the variety. Rice also, potato also, but cassava takes longer. But the longer it takes also, the more the value. Cassava is more valuable than some other crop that grows faster. How many bags of garri can be produced on 1 ton of cassava? Under normal conditions, nearly 4 tons of cassava can be converted into 1 ton of garri. So 1 ton of fresh cassava can yield more than 250 kilograms of garri. This means that 1 ton of fresh cassava will yield more than 5 bags, each weighing 50 kilograms of garri. So if you have 4 tons of fresh cassava, that can give you 5 bags of garri, each of the bags weighing 50 kilograms. What are the challenges in cultivating cassava? I'm talking about cassava at this time. I have made videos and explained how and the nitty-gritty of maize farming. You can check that video out. I also have another video talking about egg business, how you can go into poultry, both layers and broilers, and how you can go to egg distribution business. Check that out and you'll be glad that you did. I also have video on how to do going to ice block production from A to Z. Whether you are in a place where there's light or you're in a place where there's no light, that is another business that I have explained. I also have another video talking about cashew. I have video talking about poundo yam, video talking about amala, yam flour, and many other videos on agricultural products and agricultural produce. I have video talking about how to go into custard production, how to go into production of different foods, and how to make money from different businesses. Now, what are the challenges in cultivating cassava? Every business has its own challenges. Cassava production is typically plagued by a slew of issues, including pests and diseases. Some of the diseases are cassava mosaic disease, which is caused by the cassava mosaic virus, cassava bacterial blight caused by bacteria, cassava anthracnose disease, cassava bud necrosis, root rots, mealybugs, green mite, and so on. Weather-related issues also affect cassava. That's the weather. Then poor soil can also affect cassava, and then land dilapidation also affects cassava. Livestock damage and other dangers are there in cassava business. Then what are the solutions to the problems in cultivating cassava? I've talked about the problems. Now what are the solutions? Use of disease-resistant cassava varieties. These can be gotten from research institute, agricultural research institute that sell the stem that you can use for planting. Then you can apply fertilizer to the soil. Where the soil is not fertile, apply fertilizer. Then build a fence around the farm to prevent access by livestock. You build a fence around your farm using wood or other materials to prevent livestock like cattle, sheep, and goats. Then testing the soil type by experts before you start planting. Then you can also use modern farm machines and other things that you can do. Now I'm going to come up with other videos about cassava. So this is all where I'm going to stop for now, and I want you to listen to this video and watch this video again. And then another thing I want you to do is to watch other videos I have, subscribe to this YouTube channel, click notification bell, and you are going to be glad you did. Cassava is a very expensive commodity today in Nigeria and in many parts of the world, and the reason is not far-fetched. Many people are going into cassava production, garri, fufu and others are expensive in the market. Even those who don't plant cassava before, today they have gone into the planting and the growing of cassava. My name again is Olubengade Tutun, and I'm your happy host on this YouTube channel. I'm going to come your way again soon. Please take action on what I've taught you, on what you are learning from this channel. The only way that we can make it together is when you take action and then you see the growth and development coming. I thank people who have been subscribed to my channel. I've been seeing the subscription growing day in, day out. Let other people know about the content of this channel. Share this video with them and share it among your contacts, among different groups that you belong to, both on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, and on Telegram. I'm going to come your way again soon. Bye bye for now.